Hey folks, we're back here with some more amazing one-on-one wrestling.
Okay, what happened in this damn show? You suspected a show with a minimal amount of tag team matches to still be an interesting show, right? I mean, we opened with the former world champion facing off against Ryan Nemeth for no reason. We had our main event being Lance Archer and Rey Fenix over a small little choke slam on his opponents from last week. That's the only reason why they're wrestling against each other. It's like the most terrible semblance of storytelling to build over this show, and people just think it's okay because it's AEW. Oh, it's young. You have $1 billion incorporated in a top-rating television. At least formulate some writers. Hell, a booker to at least subjugate the show. And I heard something about Vicky Guerrero pitching a GM position to formulate more of the show, make it more story-oriented. And I liked Vicky Guerrero when she was a GM. She was getting manipulated by Edge to keep the world title. She was immensely annoying and always conducted a real big heat because of her annoying voice. And her matches were actually interesting to book whenever it was in a personal level. I don't know why AEW doesn't want to do this. You have veterans now like Paul White, Billy Gunn, and Bob Holly that looks like Karrion Kross's uncle. And you're telling me y'all still can't make a watchable show? The only big thing that happened in the opening match was, I guess, the same tired-ass promo that I've been seeing of Jon Moxley over the last 2 years. He's been on AEW now. It's, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna go to a different world. I'm gonna scream like this. We're gonna have up like 25 people. And that's literally the formulaic, boring-ass promo of Jon Moxley. I wish I had more positives to say over this, because the immense reason why he even behaves like this, back from like from WWE 2014, he was at least an immense fan favorite because he was like a lone wolf. The guy was crazy, and he was actually getting some cool fanfare. Then 2015 happened. The guy hasn't been able to like recover to a decent above mid-carder ever since, and he won the world title like the next year. Still like was getting in feuds with AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler. That's like mid-card 101. This match was boring. It ended with the paradigm shift, and then it ended with a freaking promo that already went over and bashed. It was like purely garbage. The coolest thing that happened was technically it was Team Taz against Varsity Blondes. And Griff Garrison, people said that, there's promise on Griff Garrison because he's taller than Brian Pillman Jr. and has no semblance of a definable look. I just feel like he's just a taller jungle boy with no charisma. The guy went with topes and Wasitas. He has basic wrestling moves with drop kicks. There was a flying clothesline. Brian Cage took a while, but he picked up his little suplex driver thing and finished the match. It was dragged out as long as it can be, especially for a tag team match involving a team that's not even officially around the roster. And this is supposed to sell over a team that's supposed to be facing off against the TNT champion and a Hall of Famer like Sting. That I feel like just ruins the intelligence, and it just proves, okay, what's so threatening of this? And this is coming over an outsider's perspective. What's so threatening about these guys if they can barely beat these smaller blonde dudes? That's my experience watching it. You need to think in a different perspective whenever you watch over this if you want to actually get newer fans to watch. Because you're thinking of, okay, this flamboyant guy that looks threatening, and this big buff dude that looks like Wolverine that became a gym freak, a gym rat, coming around should be destroying small guys like this. Then Darby Allin came over in the rafters with Sting pointing around with them. There was a vignette of Sting getting Darby Allin out the body bag with some Sting-like design on his face paint. I mean, the coolest thing was him coming out the rafters, yet he was taking out the harness like it was like when Roman Reigns was stuck with them handcuffs back at the Royal Rumble just this year. It was a cool segment. It was the biggest highlight of the show. I just wish there was more into the story. Why I'm even that invested, other than Sting's going to be wrestling against a team that's not even formulated to be the top faction I saw Hook in a body bag. Taz was taking care of Hook. Not much except Darby Allin and Sting looked on top. Come March 8th will be Revolution. I thought it would be this Sunday, except I know they had to change it because of different circumstances. So, that's technically all I have for that segment, bro. So, we also had... I wish I had more stuff to say. We had Jake Hager against Brandon Cutler. Why is Brandon Cutler on television? Why is he taking this much of a threat to actually get a fight with Jake Hager? God. All I know about this guy was back on BTE. Like BTE should not be a relevant semblance for a storyline at all, or at least why a character should change characters. It's completely dumb. So here we are. Hager's taking a struggle to even get him over for a power slam. It ends with the ankle lock. Not even like anything like the rear naked choke I've seen him use to take out opponents. The match was like really one-sided. It ended up with Santana Ortiz and Wardlow beating him up, with the Young Bucks coming to assisting, calling out MJF and Jericho because they're in a feud because of the Battle Royal, so they get to face off. And the Inner Circle's kind of in a feud with frickin' the Elite since last May. So I guess that's relevant to something. Jericho and MJF did toss their bloody father to a picture of them on a pickup truck carrier and smeared their blood on them while they were chasing them. They escaped on a car. That is practically the segment. We have two forgettable one-on-one matches. Like, how many guys we have on the roster? Like, we have Pac. We have guys that are at least suitable wrestlers that you was like, okay, one-on-one matches should be important because it's a win-loss record that you're trying to portray. And I understand squash matches are important, but you don't treat them like squash matches. You have a former world champion. Why is he taking this much struggle to take out this rip-off Ziggler jobber? Brandon Cutler had like the longest losing streak, and he only has matches on Dark. Yet he has to have like a 5-minute match with somebody that should take care of him in under 2 minutes. Same thing with Brian Cage and frickin' Ricky Starks. Like, these matches make zero sense to me. They are not building over most of the guys you have on the topical roster that should be booked higher for advertisements. Chris Jericho and Father Buck looks like Waylon Mercy for back in the New Generation days of the WWF. Chris Jericho looking like Joey Nutella's father with that terrible jacket with the zoom up so they can show that he has no beer belly ab garbage. It looks awful. Oh, Jesus, it looks awful. I wish I had more positive things to say, man, but this is just aggravating to watch. We also had, what a marquee match. Isaiah Cassidy versus Hangman Page, and I wish this was more excited for some people because this is actually at least revolting around the feud, and the Private Party are actually affiliated with Matt Hardy, so there's a reason why they should wrestle each other. But it was so dragged. Hurricane Rana dropkick, a clothesline that went nowhere for a near fall. The match was completely dragged. Matt Hardy came over to assist. The Dark Order were somehow affiliated, even though it makes no sense when they were actually trying to get Hangman, and this has been happening over longer than Matt Hardy's feud with him. They were trying more hard to actually get him into the Dark Order, even before Brody Lee passed. So you reject an offer to be with a stable, and yet you help him. Somehow they turn face. Is this because Brody Lee died? Or something? What is this? Complete garbage. People tell me over the comment section, I'm not going to block you. I'm not going to do any of that pussy crap. I'm just going to read it and just go on with my life. Because BTE shouldn't ever be in the relevance. Like, non-canon comedy skit, smart insider garbage should not be the reason why you should turn heel or face or have some retarded storyline or promo over something revolting over your prime Wednesday night show. It's dumb. It's corny. I don't care about the Dark Order. They are Jobber, Bush League, Wyatt family to me, and they are like the Dungeon of Doom or more representable than anything the Dark Order has done. At least the Dungeon of Doom were competent enough to have like Kamala, the what, the hurricane, some guy, he called himself the Shark, and Sullivan. Like, we at least know the names. They're threatening but not as big, and they were feuding against a main eventer on WCW. They were feuding against Hulk Hogan to literally take care of Hulk Hogan. Sure, it was a dumb storyline, but at least they were treated as such that they were, and hell, they even had the Giant and the Yeti, but at least they were like threatening and enough to be like part of the main event scene. Dark Order, like, the biggest semblance of relevance was feuding over a mid-card title over Cody that pretends he's a main eventer. Pure garbage. I hated this match. This match dragged. Buckshot lariat. Mr. 5 gets assaulted by Matt Hardy and gets hit over a table. That's technically it to make this match more personal, even though the Dark Order really don't affiliate. I mean, Hangman barely has much. Like, if anybody's watching the live show, the Dark Order doesn't really affiliate that much with Hangman Adam Page, other than if you see BTE segments. But that shouldn't be prevalent as such. God. So you're telling me if I watch Camp WWE, it's gonna be more relevant to what I'm watching on Raw and SmackDown? Like, oh, please don't laugh in the comments on the Camp WWE reference. Or like Total Divas. I think they did Total Diva feuds. And they did it in the ring. Like, at least we got a match that was a little better, but not as better as the last tournament match from last week. I know they're gonna make Riho win this entire thing. Nyla Rose, She-Male have an ass with Britt Baker. I don't know why two heels are wrestling each other over in this tournament just to get a title shot, and it's with no story behind it. And the match wasn't even that good. I think they botched over a superplex. There was too much dragging over on the outside, especially when two heels are supposed to succumb to one another. And it would be cool if they just made Nyla Rose like a Savage-like character, but they wouldn't make her this rip-off Nia Jax. No semblance of chemistry between these women. I think they messed up on a couple punches. She couldn't get the lockjaw on her. It was a win over a chokeslam and then the Beast Bomb. That was the match. It wasn't as good as last week. I think we'll have Riho versus Thunder Rosa. I don't know who Nyla Rose is going to face off. Oh, God, I just don't care about the women. The women's. This match was just weak out of most of them. And I like Britt Baker, and I wish she gets pushed over in the top. And I wish she was, because she gets the most compelling matches, except that one with Big Swole. But I like her matches with Thunder Rosa. You'd think something like that would be more advertised for title matches than, like, having this midget 13-year-old Japanese Joshi just topple over people like Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, freaking Penelope Ford, and be like this chick that's supposed to be, oh, she's getting hurt in the ring, and yet she comes off winning. It's just unrealistic, and it's just undervaluing women that can actually talk or at least look compelling or could actually catch more people to watch Dynamite. Oh, God. We also had a match for a Revolution ladder match qualifiers involving two men. I don't know why a qualifying match for a mid-card title should be the main event. And they had also freaking, before we even go over this, there was other segments involving Kenny Omega supposedly setting up for the barbed wire death match, exploding death match with Don Callis looking like a failed porno director, like threatening to get Marvez out the place. It just looks least compelling. It treats him like a freaking comic relief. It doesn't make Kenny feel like a main eventer. Even though you want to make this guy feel like a celebrity, reading books to children and all the crap, yet you have him doing exponential stuff that I feel like Kenny doesn't do in real life, and it's so corny. There's also this thing involving Miro doing this thing with complaining about what did the best friends do to him last week, And will there be a tag team match come Revolution? Involving the little love pentagram thing. Hugs and kisses, yeah, because we know that Miro loves men now since he's been on AEW. AEW has ruined the legitimate, like the actual, like what actually made Rusev a badass, and now he's like stuck sexually assaulting the best friends, and it's just real bad. They also hyped up the Shaq, Jade Cardell, and Red Velvet and Cody Rhodes tag team match. Not going to be on pay-per-view. It's going to be a special on Dynamite next week. Awesome. We're going to have so many tag team matches that no one's going to care about. I really hate this semblance of, like, I understand they possibly don't want to make the match bad because Shaq is obviously inexperienced, and then he wants to sell over Jade Cardell, and I respect that. It just feels like you could have just done way much better than this. I don't care about Red Velvet. People would be pulling over this match like it's a title match. And they went over, oh, Shaq is a pop culture icon for over 25 years. Of course, Cody's and Red Velvet's going to win because of more experience in the ring. And work rate. It's just so dispositionally terrible. Like, I understand Cody's like a major executive and a top face in the company. It's just not that compelled. Plus, why? And they just want to do that so he can still look like he's in the title picture on pay-per-view while dealing with a match where he should be selling pay-per-views with. You shouldn't be wasting your time being in another work rate ladder match. Put the match on pay-per-view. What's wrong with you, Cody? Let somebody else get an opportunity. You already held the belt twice in just a year, facing off against indie jobbers. No one needs you getting another chance to hold the belt again. So our main event was just Rey Fenix against Lance Archer for a qualifying spot for the Revolution ladder match for a shot for the TNT title. Not the world title, because Cody can't compete for the world title anymore. And no, it's for the TNT title, so it's more impressive. I mean, less impressive, and it's like BS Ultimate X. Like, every qualifying match needs to be a ladder match. I'm not saying ladder matches can't be fun. I'm just saying that they're like the most cliche thing on AEW. Like, we already do the double or nothing ladder match, so Revolution now needs a ladder match for some apparent reason. So it's Rey Fenix against Lance Archer, and this because Lance Archer also chokeslammed Rey Fenix and saying he's a bad tag team partner. Like, dude, shut up. I care less. The match was so sloppily paced. He was trying too hard to be fast-paced over with a slow... I'm not saying that you can because of the contrast of size, but it just looks so sluggish because Rey Fenix just thinks he can just go light speed whenever he can, trying to do 619s over in the ring pose, trying to do hard kind of runners. He slip bumped and falled in some spots where he shouldn't be, and some negations of the black hole slam was in effect. He did hit the black hole slam at the end. It just looks super crap with the double stomps. A fisherman buster. I thought it was a muscle buster the first time I saw it. That was the funnest part of the match. I just didn't care. Rey Fenix just keeps looking more or less unimpressive every time I seen him. And there's not much really compelled, so they're done with, I guess, the Eddie Kingston feud now. I don't know what's happening either else. I just feel like there was a lack of story in this episode of Dynamite. This was complete, utter, borderline garbage. You guys can at me however you want. I was glad to know that there was more one-on-one matches than regular on Dynamite, where we didn't have to open with a stupid tag team match. I understand sometimes they open with one-on-one matches, but you shouldn't be having like 3 squash matches on the show that often, especially if it's gonna make your current, like, what you want to be top guys look as vulnerable on lower carders, and then have this crap main event involving 2 mid-carders over a qualifying ladder match for a mid-card belt. Especially if it's not going to be that important over in the show. That's devaluing your main event scene that you guys have a lack of. You guys don't even have Paul White making an appearance to even, like, address the fans what he's doing here, other than what's going to happen next week with Tony Schiavone, where he's obviously going to say, kill me. You guys have too many damn disinteresting, overrevolting commentators especially Excalibur with his quintuple chin. This show is garbage. Hopefully it gets better next week on the Crossroads special. Other than that, that's it from me. Thanks for watching.